everybody, and welcome to the Keto 101 videos with Yogi. Make sure that you click like and subscribe down below so that you can get all the new videos. Give us feedback on the comments, and make sure you check the show notes for any kind of offers or links to products that we may mention into the show videos. Also, remember, I'm not a doctor. This is not medical advice. This is simply guidelines of how to do a ketogenic diet in basic standards and how I would follow the ketogenic diet. All right, everybody, have a great day and enjoy the video. Hey, everybody, and welcome to another Keto 101 with Yogi. And today we're going to talk carbohydrates. And carbohydrates are the big boogeyman in the keto diet, and for good reason, especially simple carbohydrates with the way they spike blood sugar, and eating too much of them leading to a lot of lifestyle diseases such as diabetes, grain leading to a lot of autoimmune issues, and the link between sugars and brain issues such as dementia is pretty profound. So there is a difference in carbohydrates though. And we're going to talk today a little bit about what a carbohydrate is, when you're doing keto, the difference between doing total carbs and net carbs, and we're also going to talk about some healthy carbs versus unhealthy empty carbs. And we're also going to mention briefly about when carbs might be necessary and when they may not be. So first of all, carbohydrate is, no matter how you look at it, it is a type of sugar. Simple carbohydrates and starches are short chain sugars, and a complex carbohydrate, such as what we would call fiber from leafy greens, is a polysaccharide, a long chain sugar that is harder for the body to break down and turn into energy. So the simple carb and the complex carb are going to do very different things in your body. The simple carb is quick energy. Your body breaks it down really easy, uses it very quickly for energy, or slams it into the fat cells. That is the carb that is most likely going to spike your insulin levels, drive that ghrelin response to make you hungry over time as your blood sugars drop back down, as we discussed in a previous video, and suppress the leptin function, which is your satiety signal to tell you you've had enough food. And that's why when people eat a lot of carbs, they tend to overeat, or they tend to get hungry really quickly afterwards. Your complex carbohydrate, that polysaccharide, it's a little bit more difficult for your body to break down. In some forms, your body has a very difficult time breaking it down, and actually, you don't break it down, the bacteria in your gut does. It can have some health benefits in feeding good bacteria in your gut. It may or may not, depending on what's going on with your digestive system, have some benefits there. Complex carbohydrates, what we call fiber, is basically a bulking agent in your gut that pulls water out of your system to make you go number two, less watery and thicker. Too much fiber can lead to constipation. Too little fiber, a small amount of fiber, however, can help if you have the opposite end of the spectrum of diarrhea. Now, when people in the keto world talk about total carbs and net carbs, what they're talking about is, if you take a packaged meal and you look at it, you'll see total carbs and net carbs. Total carbs are all the carbohydrates, simple and complex, that are in that package. So it'll be your fiber and your sugars and your starches. So the net carbs is the amount of simple carbohydrates in that product minus the fibery stuff. So it's just the simple carbohydrates. So some people are total carbers. They want to lead their total carbohydrate intake in a certain spectrum, let's say the 10%. So if they're doing 10% daily total carbs, they're going to look at that total carbs on the package and make sure that it fits in their macro ratios, that they don't go over their daily allowance of that 10% or their meal allowance of that 10%. Now, for a net carber, they're going to look at the package and go, okay, there's 5 grams of carbohydrates, but 3 of them are fiber. So all they're going to look at is those 2 grams that are the simple carbohydrates, and then that's what they're going to factor into their daily macros. And I cannot tell you which one's going to be best for you or which one isn't, because that's something that's on an individual judgment basis. One of the best ways to test for that is after you eat a meal that has the carbohydrates in there, the complex carbohydrates, is test your blood sugar levels and see if your blood sugar levels rise, and see if it takes you out of, test your ketones levels and see if it takes you out of ketosis. The other way you could test is if you are eating a lot of net or total carbs. If you cut those out and you're getting the weight loss results you want, then obviously they were doing something to you that you didn't want. So that is a net and total carbs. Now we're going to talk about the difference between healthy carbs and unhealthy carbs. And this is kind of a gray area, actually. What we're going to call healthy carbs is carbs that have other nutrients that may benefit your body. What we're going to call unhealthy carbs today is these empty carbs that's all they are, is calories, and there is no nutritive value to them whatsoever other than the calories that they provide. Those are the bad ones. So good carbs would be things like leafy greens, where you can get some mineral content, occasionally having a small amount of squash or some low glycemic fruit. These would be more of your good carbs because they have a level of nutrients in there that may benefit your body in a certain way. Now, bad carbs, we can pretty much guess what those are. Let's Pringles, Twinkies, Ding Dongs, cake, ice cream, bread, pasta. And even if it's whole grain bread, it's still an empty carb. Most of the whole grain breads in the US aren't really whole grain breads. They're white bread with caramel coloring and some whole grains in there. And if you test your blood sugar after eating some of these whole grain breads, what is often found is that your blood sugar actually spikes higher eating the bread than eating pure sugar sometimes. So breads and pastas is the same thing. They're empty carbohydrates. There are other reasons why we exclude bread from the ketogenic diet, other reasons why we exclude any type of grains, but that is the basic one. They will spike your blood sugar. Now, there are certain situations where some people can benefit, and this is more advanced keto, to having carb ups. There is some people, especially let's say women, during the menstruation cycle, can often have a healthier menstruation cycle by including a little carbs before the menstruation cycle. And I'm not talking about going hog wild. I'm talking like one weekend having a half a sweet potato. If you are finding weight loss stalls after being in ketosis for a long time, for some people, having a small amount of healthy carbs can help jumpstart that weight loss cycle. For athletes who are, especially endurance athletes, who are going out and pushing their bodies to the limit, doing extreme marathons or hiking, their carb tolerance is going to be higher, and in some ways, a small amount of carbs, especially before an event, may help them out. It may help their recovery by allowing their body to restore its glycogen stores and not be so stressed out so it can heal faster. It can help them hydrate more, since carbohydrate causes the body to absorb more water, as we discussed in an earlier video. So having a small amount of carbs may help them stay hydrated for a race. And it could also supply a good amount of energy for that fast twitch muscle as they kind of move in between, being a fat burner and a sugar burner. That being said, all of those are kind of more advanced level keto. So what you want to focus on is whether or not you're a total carber or net carber, and that's simply how your body reacts to eating net carbs or total carbs. If you are reacting negatively in some way to fiber, stop eating it. If it's causing you to gain weight, if it's causing you to have digestive issues, stop eating it. If you do okay with a small amount of fiber and lettuce, and you do maybe even better on it, then by all means include it in your diet. And you want to limit or eliminate as much of those simple, non-nutritive carbohydrate foods as possible. We all have slip-ups. It's not the end of the world, but the less slip-ups you have, the better you're going to do. And remember, there's not really a such thing as a cheat day. You know, you can't cheat on a marriage and make it work. You can't cheat on your diet and expect the optimum results. All right, everybody, have a great day, and I'll see you on the next video.